In order for people to get a good understanding of what we're going through right now, a good indicator to understand what's going on is to look way in the past, because obviously we don't learn from our mistakes. Let's talk about Rome. Why did Rome fall? Did Rome fall overnight? No, it was a gradual thing that happened over 100 years or a couple hundred years. Um, they were the most high tech city, the most high tech country at that time. Way like the engineering that they had was amazing. But here's a couple reasons why they fell. Barbarian invasions. Barbarians would invade, and they fought them off, and they fought them off, but you know there's only so much they can do. Corrupt and weak leadership. It was highly corrupt back then. The rich people wanted to get out of paying taxes. Sounds pretty familiar. Um, Military spending and debt. Um, Sounds pretty familiar there too. Where does that sound? What does it sound? Does any of this ring a bell to you guys? Political division. That's pretty obvious. And the rise of Christianity. So the barbarian invasions. What I equate this to in America is the refugees or immigrants coming here illegally. Um, Let me put this out there. I'm not against people coming here from another country. I just don't think it's fair for people to skip the line and rush in here when there's other people in different countries that can come here too. That they shouldn't be able. It's a rigorous process to become a citizen here. I can't just go somewhere else and be like, I'm a citizen now. No, we have borders for a reason. But anyway, immigration, and that's equal to their barbarian invasions. I'm not calling people who come here illegally barbarians. I'm saying some of them might be because like MS-13, corruption and weak leadership. You can see it in our politicians. They're weak leaders. If you want to look at weak leaders, you look at most of these Republicans. Weak, and then you got corruption with the left, the Democrats. Heavy military spending. Yeah, I mean we spend like $700 billion a year on military. We spend a lot on it. And the funny thing is, we spend a lot and have our military in other countries, which the people don't want us there anyway. Debt, that's pretty obvious. We're just about 30 trillion in debt. We're around 27 right now. Um, Inflation was a big problem back then. Does any of this ring a bell? Political divide. I mean, that is probably the most obvious thing with America is the political divide. I mean, all this stuff is like very relatable to each other in America. And then the rise of Christianity back then, which I equate to council culture, the rise of council culture. It's like this left, these leftists are, it's almost like a religion to them. So if you can see history and you can see, you know, back then Rome was the greatest empire to that date, and now you look at America, this was the greatest empire to date, and you see what caused the demise, the unraveling of their society, and you look at our society, um, you can see a lot of different things, and then you can obviously see that the lack of morality nowadays, um, the broken family. That's another contribute to the demise of our nation. Um, then there's not just a political divide with people. There's this racial divide between people, and then you got the propaganda. There's a mix of a lot of different things, and to destroy America, you can't destroy it from the outside. The only way to destroy it is from the inside, and we're destroying ourselves. And when they do write about us in 100 years or 300 years, and they wonder, what the heck happened? How did they crash? You can look at socialism. You can look at the welfare state. They definitely had a welfare state there too um, in Rome. Um, Obviously, the rich people not want to pay taxes to stay wealthy, corrupt. Same here. Um, uh, America, to tell you the truth, America has been in decline for a long time. You had little bumps and bruises before the 50s. You had a couple bank runs. I think in 1907, people were trying to get all the money out of the bank, and then they did something back then, and they made the IRS. You can look it all up yourself. And then the stock market crashed in 1929. I think it crashed again in 1937, and then obviously World War II. And what World War II caused us to blow up. I mean, it caused our economy to blow up. Things got great here. The Roaring '50s were great, and then I think a big problem was putting welfare. You know, Back then, making more of a welfare state, taking the father out of the household. That was a big thing. Taking the father out. Weak leadership, weak men leadership. I mean, even not just political leaders, but just weak men uh, in general leading their families or their communities in America over the last 50, 60 years, 70 years. Um, there's a lot of factors. Drugs are a huge factor here. Alcoholism, and depression, mental illness. There's a lot of mental illness. That's a contributing factor to the decline of America. People being grossly overweight here. People like to eat and they don't like to move. They're being very lazy. People are very, very lazy. That's another contributing factor. I mean, there's a lot of contributing, and what that puts a strain on the health system. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of different factors. Um, Obviously, Rome was way more primitive of a society compared to what we have nowadays. But there's a lot of similarities when it comes to the politics and how they were socially. It mirrors America pretty. Yeah, if you look into it and you're aware of what's happening now, a little bit about American history, recent American history, it's pretty similar. And it's quite clear we're going through not just it's a fall of America, and probably China will take over, or the New World Order or something like that, and America, I think, will be reduced to somewhat. Mostly, there'll probably be pockets of wealthy areas, but it'll probably be mostly third world country ish places here. I think the major cities will be third world slums. Um, uh, it, it's a sad situation. It really is, and the thing is, you have to learn from history. You let history repeat itself. a wise man learns from their own mistakes. A wiser man learns from other people's mistakes. And I want the new generation coming up to see what they're coming into. You're really coming into slavery, unless technology really takes over, um, with all this debt. All this burden is being put on you, and it's really sad that people instead of taking the medicine and working harder, they put it on the next generation, and it's not fair to them at all.